Roblox isn't just bright avatars, tycoon simulators, and silly obbies. Hidden in the platform's massive library are experiences designed to push your nerves to the breaking point. They aren't group games full of laughs, and they're not something you casually click on at midnight. These are games built around isolation, fear, and psychological manipulation. Games that make you question if you're really alone in your room, or if something is lurking in the corner of your eye as you play. Today, I'm exposing 3 Roblox games you should never play alone. These aren't silly jump scare cash grabs. These are the ones where the atmosphere, the audio, and the feeling of emptiness crawl under your skin. By the end of this video, you'll understand why even the bravest Roblox veterans beg their friends to hop on voice chat before booting these up. So turn off the lights if you dare, and let's dive in. Point 1. It Lurks. The monster in the silence. It Lurks looks harmless at first glance. The lobby is simple, the setup is basic, and it feels like yet another short Roblox horror project. But once you step inside the game, you realize why it's infamous. The entire experience is designed to strip you of comfort, step by step, until you're completely alone with your fear. The premise is straightforward. You're in a house with your family, but quickly, things start to feel wrong. The lights dim, doors creak open on their own, and then the unexplainable happens. Your family vanishes. From this moment forward, you're isolated, wandering darkened hallways while something or someone is following you. What makes It Lurks especially dangerous to play alone is how it weaponizes sound. Most Roblox horror games rely on visual jump scares, but here, it's the silence that kills you. A faint footstep behind you, a knock in another room, a creak on the stairs. When you're playing alone, your brain fills in the gaps, convincing you something is right behind you, even when nothing's there. And when the monster does appear, it doesn't always chase. Sometimes it just stands there, staring at you in the dark, before melting back into the shadows. This unpredictability makes solo runs brutal. With no friends to laugh with, no one to reassure you that it's just a game, every second feels like you're genuinely being stalked in your own house. One player on Reddit described the experience as, "I had to pause the game multiple times to catch my breath. The silence was worse than the jump scares. I felt like my own room was haunted afterward." When you're with friends, you can split the fear. Alone though, It Lurks feels personal, like the entity inside the game has locked its eyes on you and only you. And once you've played it at midnight, don't be surprised if you find yourself checking your own hallway before heading to bed. Point 2. Dead Silence. The Curse of Mary Shaw. If you've ever looked up scariest Roblox game, Dead Silence almost always tops the list. And for good reason. Inspired by the cult horror movie of the same name, this game isn't just scary, it's suffocating. The story revolves around Mary Shaw, a vengeful spirit connected to disappearances and a series of supernatural hauntings. The moment you spawn in, the game throws you into a bleak, empty environment with one clear purpose: make you feel like you're never safe. What makes Dead Silence so terrifying to play alone is how it forces you to walk into the dark. There's no skipping ahead, no rushing past the buildup. You walk slowly, flashlight flickering, hearing whispers that sound like they're right over your shoulder. And the worst part? Sometimes the game deliberately messes with your expectations. You'll hear a noise behind you, whip around, and see nothing. But if you turn back again, suddenly a figure will be waiting. The unpredictability is brutal solo. When you're with friends, you can laugh and keep each other sane. Alone, you become hyper-aware of every detail. The sound of dripping water, the doll sitting in the corner, the flicker of eyes in the shadows. Mary Shaw doesn't just appear, she waits. And waiting alone is where the horror really seeps in. The game also uses claustrophobia as a weapon, crawling through air vents, creeping down narrow hallways, and crouching in basements. These spaces are suffocating when you're by yourself. At any moment, the game can drop a scare so sudden it feels like your heart skips a beat. One player on YouTube summed it up perfectly. Dead silence isn't about jump scares. It's about survival in your own head. I couldn't finish it alone. I quit halfway because I felt like I wasn't actually alone in my room anymore. This is why so many Roblox veterans call Dead Silence the single scariest solo experience on the platform. Playing it alone doesn't just scare you, it unsettles you for hours after logging off. Point 3. Alone in a dark house. Secrets that should have stayed hidden. The very title tells you exactly what you're signing up for. Alone in a dark house. But what the title doesn't prepare you for is how suffocatingly real the fear feels when you're playing it solo. This isn't one of those silly Roblox jump scare games where a loud PNG flashes across your screen and you laugh it off. This is an entire environment, built carefully and deliberately to make you feel small, vulnerable, and completely unwelcome. The setup is deceptively simple. You arrive at an abandoned mansion, tasked with investigating what happened within its walls. It's not just a house, it's a crime scene, a mausoleum of secrets. The rooms are dimly lit, the furniture decayed, the wallpaper peeling like old skin. Every step you take echoes through hallways that feel way too big for one person. And the kicker? You are always alone. When you play with friends, it's just another haunted mystery. But when you're alone, the game becomes something else entirely. You start to notice the details that would normally slip by if someone else were distracting you. A chair is facing the wrong way. A door you swore was closed is now open. A shadow moves across the hallway, but there's nothing there when you turn. The house starts to feel alive, and it feels like it knows you're trespassing. The scariest part isn't even the jump scares, it's the anticipation. You'll spend long minutes exploring a hallway, flashlight beam trembling, with nothing happening. Your heart races, waiting for something. And just when you start to relax, when you tell yourself, maybe this isn't so bad, that's when the house strikes. A light bulb bursts. A portrait's eyes flicker. A door slams shut behind you, trapping you in a room you thought was safe. And then, there's the lore. As you dig deeper, Alone in a Dark House reveals that you're not just wandering some random spooky mansion. You're uncovering a story about murder, betrayal, and restless spirits. Notes, diaries, and hidden messages start to paint a picture of a family torn apart by violence. Ghostly figures hint at tragedies that should have stayed buried. The deeper you go, the more you realize you're not just solving a mystery, you're intruding on something that doesn't want to be uncovered. Players have reported genuinely chilling encounters, whispers in empty rooms, shadows darting just outside the corner of their vision, footsteps pacing in the attic when no one's up there. Some even claim the game seems to react to their fear, as if the house itself feeds off your hesitation. Alone, it's not just scary, it's personal. One chilling detail: if you linger too long in certain rooms, you might see a figure watching you from a distance. It doesn't chase, it doesn't move, it just stares. And sometimes, if you blink or turn away, it's suddenly right behind you. When you've got friends with you, you can laugh it off, say, "Oh, that was creepy," and keep moving. But when you're alone, the silence after those encounters is unbearable. You sit there, headphones on, realizing you're the only person in both the game and your real room. And it feels like the house knows it. Finishing Alone in a Dark House solo isn't just about surviving the scares. It's about enduring the psychological breakdown that comes from wandering those empty halls with nothing but your own paranoia to keep you company. By the time you uncover the full truth of the mansion's history, you don't feel triumphant. You feel drained, like you've been through something you shouldn't have touched in the first place. That's why this game has such a reputation. With friends, it's a spooky puzzle adventure. But alone? Alone in a Dark House becomes a test of endurance, a slow descent into shadows and whispers that stick with you long after you log off. These 3 games, It Lurks, Dead Silence, and Alone in a Dark House, prove that Roblox horror isn't a joke. When you're with friends, you can laugh through the terror. But alone? These games strip away every ounce of comfort and leave you face to face with fear. So here's my challenge. If you think you're brave enough, play one of these alone tonight. And then tell me in the comments how far you actually got. Because trust me, Roblox horror hits different when it's just you, your screen, and the silence around you.